Christ will Samael Aun Weor. 1. Christ will. By Samael Aun Weor. Introduction. And I saw in the right hand of him who was seated on the throne a scroll written within and on the back, sealed with 7 seals, and I saw a strong angel proclaiming with a loud voice, Who is worthy to open the scroll and break its seals? Rev 5:1-2. This divine scroll is man, and the 7 seals are the sacred serpents that we have to lift over the rod, as Moses did in the desert. This is the great arcane. In this book we study the mysteries of the 5th seal. In this book we study in detail the great mysteries of the human will. Much has been written about the will, but nobody has ever studied the great mysteries of the universal will. Then I saw another mighty angel coming down from heaven, wrapped in a cloud, with a rainbow over his head, and his face was like the sun, and his legs like pillars of fire, and called out with a loud voice, like a lion roaring. When he called out, the 7 thunders sounded. Rev 10:1-3. When man has raised his 7 serpents, he is converted into a majestic angel, crowned by the rainbow above his head. This rainbow is the 7 tongues of ardent fire that convert us into kings and priests of the universe. The 7 thunders are the 7 voices, the 7 vowels, the 7 serpents that convert us into omnipotent gods of the universe. In this book we study the magnificent mysteries of the will. It is necessary to Christify the will. It is necessary to become all-powerful. We want the will to become fire. All the greatest powers of the universe are contained in the sex. All the terrifying powers of the creation slumber in our creative organs. Love is the foundation of the great work. Man and woman united sexually can become terrifying monarchs of nature. When a man and a woman are sexually united, something is created. Those who want to Christify their will must intensely practice sexual magic with the woman. Christ will Samael Aun Weor. 2. Those who want to become gods must practice their cult of sexual magic with the woman. Whatever is not done in this manner is regrettably a waste of time. Chapter 1. Thy will be done. 1. Have you seen, O Buddha, those ineffable beings that in the world of the will reverently bowed before the majesty of the Father? 2. Thy will be done, O my God, on earth as it is in heaven. 3. Father, if thou art willing, remove this cup from me, nevertheless not my will but thine be done. Luke 22:42-45. 4. The will must kneel before the intimate. 5. The will must humiliate itself before the majesty of the Father. 6. If we wish to Christify the body of will, we must do the will of the Father, on earth as in heaven. 7. The Father and the Son are one, but the rebel Son is weak before the majesty of the Father. 8. The Christic will is powerful, because it only does the will of the intimate, on earth as in heaven. 9. When the will wishes to act independently, without doing the will of the Father, it is a weak will. 10. We must put on our temples the crown of thorns of the Master. 11. The crown of thorns symbolizes the Christic will. 12. The Christic will is omnipotent, because it only does the will of the intimate, on earth as in heaven. 13. When the human will opposes the will of the Father is guilty of lèse-majesté. Chapter 2. The awakening of the fire. 1. You have awakened your 5th serpent, to Christify the body of will. 2. Rejoice, O illuminated Buddha, because your human will become the Christic will. 3. A beautiful child appears in the causal world, he is the body of your will. 4. A steel door opens, resembling the door of a garden. Enter, my son, enter. 5. My brother, take with you the body of will, your beautiful child, take him to the temple to celebrate the occasion. Observe him well, brother of my soul, in the coccygeal bone of the causal body, you will see the 5th serpent awakened. 7. The glorious march has started, which will culminate in the total Christification of the will. Christ will Samael Aun Weor. 3. 8. The Christic will shine now. 9. The human soul will now bow before the will of the Father. 10. Receive, brother of my soul, the sacred ring, and your holy cloth. 11. A decrepit old man appears in your path. 12. The old man has spoken, and says, abandon the earthly things. 13. Listen to it, my brother, listen to it, O Buddha. 14. I tell my arhat that it is necessary to liberate the will from the earthly things. 15. I tell my arhat that the ego, manas, hides in his breast the unbearable burden of the centuries. 16. I tell my arhat that time is only a withered and decrepit old man, from which we must liberate ourselves. 17. I tell my arhat that the ego, manas, must liberate itself of the burden of the centuries. 18. The memory of nature is contained in the causal plane, the unbearable burden of the years. 19. Through time, the human will get used to reacting unceasingly towards the earthly things, seduced by the human mind. 20. Through the epochs, the human will has let itself be influenced by the earthly things. 21. The memory of the past and the preconceptions converted the human will into a defensive self-barrier, inside which the human soul remained prisoner. 22. All of these prejudices made the human will a slave to earthly things. 23. The burden of the centuries, ancient, withered and degenerate, enslaved the souls. 24. The prejudices, the preconceptions and the dust of the years, disfigured the human will, converting it into a horrible monster, in the service of the mind and the desire. 25. Now, the fifth serpent liberates the human will of the earthly things. 26. Now the human will beat the dust from its white hair, and will become the Christic will. 27. Now, the human will only obey the orders of the intimate, because already the divine triad has liberated itself from the four bodies of sin. 28. Through the ins, the fear and the search for security have enslaved the body of will, making it into a barrier of personal self-defense. 29. It is the fear and the yearning for security that has transformed the human will into a poor victim of the four bodies of sin. 30. It is the burden of the past, it is the dust of the years, with all of their ancestral prejudices, which have converted the human will into a miserable slave of the earthly things. 31. The moment has come to liberate the human will of the horrible prejudices and of the sinister inheritance of fear and cravings. 32. Rejoice, O Buddha, that now your human will become the Christic will. 33. The moment has come to liberate the human will of the ancient fears of the past. Christ will Samael Aun Weor. 4. 34. Thousands of ignorant writers have written volume after volume about the will, but which of them has ever said anything about the Christic will? 35. Paul Jaggett, Atkinson, Mesmer, Martin, etc., who spoke so much about the will, were nothing but simple black magicians, charlatans, conmen, that only wished to enslave the will of men, putting it to the service of the base passions and earthly things. 36. Krishnamurti was nothing but an ignorant illiterate who was only able to see the human will but not the Christic will. 37. Krishnamurti despised the poor prisoner, but was unable to take off the painful shackles from her. 38. Krishnamurti limited himself to the study of the jails of the will, but was unable to open the doors to the poor prisoner. 39. We can only open these doors of the poor prisoner with a kundalini of the body of will. 40. Only by going through the doors of Olin can we break the chains that have made the human will a prisoner of earthly things. 41. Only the key of the kundalini permits us to open the locks of the sinister prison where the human will finds itself prisoner. 42. We must put on our temples the crown of thorns of the Master. 43. The sacred cloth, the divine face, with his crown of thorns, symbolizes the Christic will. 44. The holy shroud or holy cloth, where the face of the Christ remained imprinted. precisely symbolized the Christic will. 45. When the holy women cleansed the face of the Christ with the holy cloth, they were astonished when they saw the face of the Master on the sacred cloth. 46. With this miracle, the martyr of the Calvary taught us the path of the Christification of the will. 47. The will must kneel before the majesty of the intimate. 48. The will must only obey the intimate. 49. The will that obeys the four bodies of sin lives as a prisoner amongst the chains of bitterness. 50. Father, if thou art willing, remove this cup from me, nevertheless not my will, but thine be done. Luke 22:42-45. 51. The human will must put on its temples the crown of thorns. 52. The Christic will only does the will of the Father, on earth as it is in heaven. 53. The Christic will is a rebel against the earthly things, because it only obeys the will of the Father. 54. Christ did not give in before Pilate, neither did he bend his knees before Caiaphas, because the Christic will only kneels before the will of the Father. 55. The Christic will is heroic. The Christic will only bends, and only kneels before the will of the Father. 56. The Christic will only kneels before the Father. The Christic will is sacrifice and filial love towards the Father. Christ will Samael Aun Weor. 5. 57. The Christic will is the Son, the cosmic Christ, the martyr of the Calvary in us, the divine face imprinted on the holy cloth. Chapter 3. Probistmo. 1. Probistmo is the science that studies the mental essences that imprison the mind. 2. Probistmo is that inner wisdom that permits us to study the jails of the mind. 3. Probistmo is that pure science that permits us to know thoroughly the errors of the individual minds. 4. The Buddha, who is rising as fifth serpent over the rod, must study deeply Probistmo to guide wisely the train of human evolution along the spiral rail of life. 5. Probistmo is the science of the esoteric trials. 6. Every Buddha must study Probistmo. 7. The Buddhic self-evidence and self-reflection enable us to take to our intuition concepts of content that are translated into divine intuitions. 8. In this way you are preparing, my brother, as a hierophant of major mysteries. The mind of men must liberate itself from every kind of school, religion, sect, political party, concepts of fatherland and flag, etc. 10. The human mind must liberate itself from fear and desires. 11. The human mind must liberate itself from the longings for accumulation, from attachments, from hates, from selfishness, from violence, etc. 12. The mind must liberate itself from the processes of reasoning that divides the mind in the battle of the antithesis. 13. A mind divided by the depressing process of the option cannot serve as an instrument for the intimate. 14. It is necessary to exchange the reasoning process for the beauty of the comprehension. 15. The process of the conceptual election divides the mind. The wrong action and the useless effort are born there. 16. The desires for what you crave are shackles for the mind. 17. These shackles lead man to all kind of errors, whose result is karma. 18. Fear exerts over the mind the wish for security. 19. The wish for security enslaves the will, converting it into a prisoner of self-defensive barriers, inside which all human miseries are hidden. 20. Fear brings about all kinds of inferiority complexes. 21. The fear of death makes men to take arms, and to assassinate each other. 22. The man who carries a revolver on his belt is a fearful assassin. 23. The brave man does not carry arms, because he is not afraid of anybody. 24. The fear of life, the fear of death, the fear of hunger, the fear of poverty, the fear of cold and nakedness, engenders all kinds of inferiority complexes. Christ will Samael Aun Weor. 6. 25. Fear leads men to violence, hate, exploitation, etc. 26. The probist mo is the science that permits the hierophants of major mysteries to know the degree of evolution reached by each disciple. 27. Every Buddha must study probist mo thoroughly, to get to know deeply the prisons of understanding. 28. The mind of man lives from prison to prison, and each prison is a school, a religion, a mistaken concept, a prejudice, a wish, an opinion, etc. 29. The human mind must learn to flow serenely in an integral way, without the painful process of reasoning, which divides it amongst the battling of the antithesis. 30. The mind must become like a child, so that it can serve as an instrument to the intimate. 31. We must always live in the present, because life is only an eternal instant. 32. We must free ourselves of all kinds of preconceptions and desires. 33. We must only move under the impulses of the intimate. 34. We must be contented with the rights of Kanchorita. 35. The rights of Kangarita are bread, shelter, and refuge. 36. A very evolved humanity lives in the planet Venus. 37. The inhabitants of Venus, the star of the dawn, are real artists. 38. Each Venusian family builds its beautiful mansion, its orchard and garden. 39. This is the cosmic order. When the inhabitants of the earth are subject to the cosmic order, the economic problems of the world will disappear forever. 40. The human being has the right to live differently, with dignity and beauty, because he is not a pig. However, he must be content with the rights of Kangarita. 41. Greed, anger and lust have their lair in the mind. 42. Greed, anger and lust lead the souls to the Abishi. 43. Man is not the mind. 44. The mind is only one of the bodies of sin. 45. When man identifies with the mind, he goes to the abyss. 46. The mind is only the ass that we must ride to enter into the heavenly Jerusalem on Palm Sunday. 47. One must handle the mind by means of the will. 48. When the mind pesters us with useless representations, we must talk to the mind as follows. 49. Mind, remove this representation. I do not accept it. You are my slave and I am your master. 50. When the mind pesters us with reactions of hate, fear, anger, desires, lust, etc., let us talk to the mind as follows. 51. Mind, remove these things. I do not accept them. I am your master, I am your Lord, and you must obey me, because you are my slave until the consummation of the centuries. Christ will Samael Aun Weor. 7. 52. We now need men from Telema, men of will, who do not allow themselves to be enslaved by the mind. 53. The Buddha who is Christifying his will must study thoroughly the probistmo. 2. Learn wisely all the essences of the mind, all the prisons of the comprehension. 54. In this way the Hierophant of major mysteries can wisely lead the train of human evolution. Chapter 4. The first shaft. 1. Your fifth serpent has entered the first spinal vertebra of the body of will, the tarot card. 2. A majestic temple opens up, with an enormous altar, on which a sacred cloth is spread out. 3. The executioners whip you, the angry crowds shout, Crucifixia, Crucifixia, Crucifixia. 4. Now you can walk, O Buddha, carrying your cross, on the way to Calvary. 5. The holy women near you cry, the crowds stone you, and the crown of thorns pierces your aching temples. Forgive the crowds and bless them. 6. In the temples an exquisite music resounds, with its sweet melodies. 7. The serpent of the body of will has already started its progress towards Calvary, and you have reached the first degree of the Christic will, the magician of the tarot. 8. We have 7 sacred serpents, 2 groups of 3, with the sublime coronation of the Seventh tongue of fire that unifies us with the One, with the Law and with the Father. 9. These 7 sacred serpents belong to the 7 bodies of man. 10. When we were elemental we had these 7 serpents above the rod, but when we ate from the fruit of the forbidden tree, the 7 serpents descended and remained enclosed and prisoner in the coccygeal center. 11. Now man will have to raise his 7 serpents above the rod, in the same way that Moses did in the desert. 12. Each serpent will rise in successive order. 13. The first serpent rises with the first initiation of major mysteries, the second with the second initiation, the third with the third initiation, the fourth with the fourth initiation, the fifth with the fifth initiation, the sixth with the sixth initiation, and the seventh with the seventh initiation. 14. A body of beauty must replace each one of our bodies of sin. 15. With the serpent of the physical body we build the body of liberation, made of the purest musk. 16. With the serpent of the etheric body we build the soma Puchicon, or body of gold. 17. With the serpent of the astral body we build the I Christ. 18. With the serpent of the mental body we build the mind Christ. Christ will Samael Aun Weor. 8. 19. Thus, the body of liberation, the soma Puchicon, the I Christ, and the mind Christ replace the physical, vital, astral and mental bodies. 20. Thus, the fire renews everything, and the celestial man replaces the earthly man. 21. The 7 serpents rise above the rod, practicing sexual magic with the priestess wife. 22. There can be sexual connection, but not a drop of semen must be spilled. 23. The restrained desire will make our seminal liquid rise up towards the head, and we're converted into omnipotent gods of the universe. 24. In this way we see our 7 serpents being risen above the rod, as Moses did in the desert. 25. However, the unmarried men and women will transmute their sexual energy by means of the music, the devotion, the oration and the love of God and the fellow men and women. 26. The unmarried will raise each of their serpents by the strength of the sacrifice. 27. Sexual abstention is a tremendous sacrifice. 28. Only the path of chastity and holiness brings us to the great accomplishments. 29. Only the path of perfection, the unselfish service in favor of the poor suffering humanity, take us to the ineffable happiness of the nirvana. 30. Be pure my love, be perfect, be chaste, in thought, word and deed. 31. Move forward, O Buddha, move forward with your cross on your back, towards the Golgotha of the Father. You have started your journey with the first card of the tarot. Chapter 5. The second shaft. 1. Sexual alchemy activates terrifying cosmic powers that open access to you to each of the 33 sacred chambers of the body of will. 2. Forward, O Buddha, forward, the sinister ones, close your path, defeat them, my brother, defeat them with the well-tempered edge of your sword. 3. Shine the ineffable light inside your own dwelling. 4. Leave your shoes outside, and enter, O Buddha. 5. Your 5th serpent has entered the 2nd vertebra of the spinal column of the body of will, the priestess of the tarot, the 2nd card. 6. There is ineffable music in the divine confines of the temple. 7. There is joy in the world of the natural causes. This is the occult wisdom of the 2nd card of the tarot. 8. The body of will is being converted into the Christ will. 9. The ego manas is liberating itself from the material things. 10. The Christic will always knows how to obey the Father. 11. The human will must liberate itself from all kinds of limitations. 12. The will must liberate itself from all sorts of preconceptions. Christ will Samael Aun Weor. 9. 13. The will must liberate itself from all sorts of prejudices. 14. The will must not be converted into simple barriers of fear. 15. The will must not be subject to desires. 16. The human will must become the Christic will, to understand life in its free movement. 17. The will must not be a simple instrument of fear. 18. The will must not be enslaved by the preconceptions amassed in the dust of the centuries. 19. The will must become a child. 20. The ego manas must learn to live always in the present, because life is an eternal instant. 21. The will must liberate itself from the earthly things, and throw itself totally into the arms of the Father. 22. Go forward, O Buddha, go forward. Chapter 6. The Third Chamber. 1. The sacred fire of the body of will has now penetrated the third spinal chamber. 2. A strange trumpet resounds. 3. Go out now, O Buddha, go out now with your guru. 4. In the temple, my brother, receive the rune Hagal, the star with the 6 points, the divine breath of the sacred music of God. 5. Shine the sacred star, with an ineffable glow. 6. You have entered the kingdom of the music. 7. Delicious ineffable melodies resound in the divine ambits of the causal world. 8. Exquisite symphonies, impossible to describe in human words. 9. You have joined, my brother, the Academy of Music of the causal world, or world of the will. 10. A great master of music runs this sacred college. 11. This master of music welcomes you. 12. This teacher is a genius of the divine art, officiating in the temple of music. 13. His hair is long and gray, his face is like lightning, and it clearly reveals the majesty of God. 14. All disciples of this sacred college of music are Buddhas. 15. Now the old teacher extends his hand affectionately, and shows you a secret greeting, by means of which the adepts recognize each other. 16. The Christic will is ineffable music. 17. The world of will is that of the music. 18. The music gives the will the ineffable harmony of the gods. Christ will Samael Aun Weor. 10. 19. The music and the will form a marriage of love, impossible to describe in human words. 20. The music gives the will the ethnic ensemble of the beauty. 21. The music gives the will the harmony of the great cosmic diapason. 22. The acts of will of the music are as harmonious and solemn as the movement of the stars in space. 23. While the fifth degree of the power of fire has not entered the third spinal chamber of the body of will, the acts of will not be in agreement with the vibrant harmonies of the solemn cosmic symphonies. 24. The will, when apart from the music, is rough and coarse, like the caress of a feline beast. 25. However, when the sacred fire has entered the third spinal chamber of the body of will, the acts of will are actual living symphonies. 26. The Christic will has got the majesty of the tempest and the love of the morning star. 27. The music gives the will the eurythmics of an Apollo, and the beauty of the Venus of Milo. 28. The will of the music is the phallus of the gods. 29. The masters of the music are columns of the temple of the living God. 30. The music generates acts as perfect as the harmonies of the cosmic diapason. 31. The whole of the universe is the temple of music. 32. Arthur Schopenhauer, in his book entitled The World as Representation and Will, conceives nature as the living incarnation of will. 33. He, however, forgot that will is music. 34. Each living flower, the sigh of every bird, and the love hidden in the breast of the earth, are the living incarnation of music. 35. Everything in nature has its keynote, and the ensemble of all these constitute that superb tone of the Great Mother, that resounds amongst the burning space of the Chinese Kung. 36. When Joshua sounded the trumpet, the walls of Jericho fell down, because he played the keynote of these unconquered walls. 37. A soft word pacifies anger, and the discordant words break the harmony of the cosmic diapason, and generate disorders. 38. The ineffable orchestras of the zodiacal belt resound in the world of will, taking us to the most sublime peaks of samadhi. 39. The great rhythms of fire give rise to the dance of the stars in the incommensurable spaces. 40. The will of music sustains the flux and reflux of life, and moves the pendulum of the infinite existences during the whole of the Mahantara. 41. The verb, the word, is incarnated in the heart of each lotus, and the pulsation of each life. 42. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. He was in the beginning with God. All things were made through him, and without him was not. Christ will Samael Aun Weor. 11. Anything made that was made, in him was life, and the life was the light of men. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. There was a man sent from God, whose name was John. He came for testimony, to bear witness to the light, that all might believe through him. He was not the light, but came to bear witness to the light. The true light that enlightens every man was coming into the world. He was in the world, and the world was made through him, yet the world knew him not. He came to his own home, and his own people received him not, but to all who received him, who believed in his name, he gave power to become children of God, who were born, not of blood, nor of the will of the flesh, nor of the will of man, but of God. And the Word became flesh, and dwelt among us, full of grace and truth. We have beheld his glory, glory as of the only Son from the Father, and from his fullness have we all received grace upon grace. Jn. 1-16. 43. Music is the will of God. 44. Music is the Christic will. 45. Classical music generates universes, and sustains suns during the great cosmic day. 46. One goes into ecstasies when listening to compositions such as the 9 symphonies of Beethoven. 47. One is overwhelmed when in ecstasy amongst the notes of Mozart, Chopin, and Liszt. 48. Every straight action is music of light. 49. Every mistaken action is fatal music. 50. Negative music such as the mambo, the guaraca, the porro, the cumbia, etc., is infernal. Music is music of the abyss that only gives rise to fornication, adulteries, hate, overeating, drunkenness, crimes, etc. 51. With this we prove that the will is music, and every action is the daughter of music. 52. The war marches inflame men, and lead them to violence. 53. The funeral marches fill the eyes with tears, and give rise to confusion of faces and sorrows. 54. The human words are articulated music, sometimes sweet and mild like ineffable melodies, sometimes satanic and discordant like infernal notes. 55. The articulated word is a terrible weapon, as much as for good as for evil. 56. When humanity had not yet left Eden, it only spoke the verb of the light, which like a river of gold flowed sweetly under the forest full of sun. 57. In this ineffable verb of the gods, for the whole of nature, amongst the ineffable depth of the music. 58. The verb of the gods is sacred music. 59. This divine verb has its sacred alphabet, and these sacred alphabets are the divine runes. See Igneous Rose by the same author. 60. The creative larynx is the sexual organ of the Christic will. 61. The verb of the gods gives existence to the worlds. 62. The verb of the gods is Christic will. Christ will Samael Aun Weor. 12. 63. The sacred mantras, Kais, Ches, Chos, Choose, and Chaz totally develop and unfold the chakras of the astral body. 64. Kais, for clairvoyance. Ches, for the hidden ear. Chos, for the heart. Choose, for the solar plexus. Chaz, for the pulmonary chakras. 65. Our disciples will vocalize these mantras daily for an hour, to develop the chakras of their astral bodies, and then they will be able to perceive the inner worlds. 66. The vowels of these mantras must be pronounced properly, so that they give rise to a positive result. 67. One must vocalize, extending the sound as much as possible. 68. One must vocalize the S as a sibilant, sharp sound similar to the one produced by a compressed air break, a prolonged sound, and a sibilant sound. 69. This is the way to pronounce it. CHISSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSssssssssssssssssssssssssssssssssssssssssssssssssssssssssssssssssssssssssssssssssssssssssssssssssssssssssssssssssssssssssssssssssssssssssssssssssssssssssssssssssssssssssssssssssssssssssssssssssssssssssssssssssssssssssssssssss SSSSSSS. CHOOOOOOOOOOOSSSSSSSS. CHUUUUUUUUSSSSSSSS. CHAAAAAAAAAASSSSSSSS. 70. With this explanation we wish to say that the sound of each of the mantras Kais, Ches, Chos, Choose, Chas must be prolonged. 71. It is understood that extending the sound of the vowels and the hiss of the S prolongs the sound of the mantras. 72. The very powerful mantras of the great verb of the light develop the chakras of the astral body of all our disciples completely. 73. The verb of gold resounds in all creation. 74. The verb of gold is Christic will. 75. Rejoice, O Buddha, because now you have entered the temple of music. 76. Study with patience the divine art of the music. 77. From this moment, the teacher in this sacred college will teach you the music will. 78. The music will is Christic will. 79. The Christic will is the verb. 80. The Christic will is music. 81. Christ was the incarnation of the verb. 82. The verb became flesh and came to live amongst us. 83. He came to his own home, and his own people received him not. 84. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. Christ will Samael Aun Weor. 13. Chapter 7. The Transmutation. 1. We have now entered the arcane 21st of the tarot. 2. If we add up this number, we obtain the number 3, that belongs to the degree 3 of the body of will. 3. This is the sacred chamber of the temple of music. 4. The transmutation of the water into wine inside the matrix of our own organic laboratory is only possible by the domination of the animal impulse by means of the will music. 5. We already know that the will is the same as music, and because of this we assert that the music will permits us to transmute our semen into Christic energy. 6. Therefore the sexual magic is ineffable. Music is an exquisite melody, transmuting the semen into the wine of light of the alchemist. 7. If we take into account that only by means of the willpower can we refrain the sexual act to transmute the water into wine, then we reach the logical conclusion that the music is the only one that can open for us the secret chambers of the spinal column. 8. However, we should not establish an abyss between the music and the will, because music and will are the same thing. 9. Sexual alchemy is only possible by learning how to play the lyre of our will. 10. This is the 21 arcane of the tarot. This is degree 3 of the 5th serpent. 11. The music converts men into gods. 12. Those that are still weak-willed must daily sing the rune torn. 13. This exercise will be realized by the disciple putting his right hand on the waist or hip, and then vocalizing the syllabi ta, I, t, tu, extending the sound of each vowel. Then he will vocalize the mantra torn as follows. T-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O the sound of each letter. 15. We know that sexual magic is hard and difficult for men of weak will, and because of this we recommend that our disciples first practice the exercises of the rune turn. 2. acquire the strength of will that permits them to manipulate the sexual magic heroically. 16. The music will acts on our water, semen, transmuting it into Christic energy, that is, into the wine of light of the alchemist. 17. The rune torn is solar, and is governed by the zodiacal sign of Libra. 18. We already know that the zodiacal sign Libra governs the kidneys. 19. There are 2 chakras in our kidneys that register our degree of chastity, or degree of animal fornication. 20. This is why the Bible says the following: Christ will Samael Aun Weor. 14. 21. And to the angel of the church in Thyatira write the words of the Son of God, who has eyes like a flame of fire, and whose feet are like burnished bronze. I know your works, your love and faith and service and patient endurance, and that your latter works exceed the first, but I have this against you, that you tolerate the woman Jezebel, who calls her a prophetess, and is teaching and beguiling my servants to practice immorality, and wheat food sacrificed to idols. I gave her time to repent, but she refuses to repent of her immorality. Behold, I will throw her on a sickbed, and those who commit adultery with her I will throw into great tribulation, unless they repent of her doings, and I will strike her children dead, and all the churches shall know that I am he who searches mind and heart. And I will give to each of you as your works deserve. Rev 2:18-24. 22. The clairvoyant can observe the chakras of the kidneys, a dirty red color for the fornicator, an immaculate white color for the chaste. 23. The color of the rune torn is orange, green and yellow. The precious stone of this rune is the carnial, and the metal is the gold. 24. The music will is the sacred arcane of the transmutation. 25. The music permits us to transmute the water into wine. 26. The chamber 3 of our 5th serpent is the ineffable temple of the music. Chapter 8. The 4th chamber. 1. A delicious orchestra resounds in the world of natural causes. 2. Enter the temple, O Buddha, so that you can receive your symbolic shield. 3. The sacred fire of your 5th serpent has entered the 4th chamber of your body of will. 4. Hoist your flag, conqueror emperor. 5. Attend the supper of light, O Buddha. 6. The 4th arcane is the Emperor of the Tarot, and it is just that you receive your shield, and that you hoist your flag, so that you rule the world of will. 7. This is the flag of the Virgin. 8. This is the flag of the goddess Nature, Isis, Adonia, Astarte. 9. 1 is the Father, 2 the Mother, 3 the Son, and 4 the family. 10. The flag of the great goddess is the symbol of the universal family, is the symbol of what has been created. 11. The numerical value of the Sinolan of the Aztecs is 4. 12. Now include in yourself, O Buddha, the 4 characteristics of the Sphinx. 13. You have the intelligence of the gods, the daring of the lion, the tenacity of the oxen, the majestic wings of the spirit. Christ will Samael Aun Weor. 15. Chapter 9. Will and Desire. 1. Will and desire are 2 poles of the same thing. 2. The will is positive, and the desire is negative. 3. Many mistake the will for the desire, and the desire for the will. 4. However, the will and the desire are 2 poles, positive and negative, of man. 5. Now you, O Buddha, must change the sensation desire for the sensation will. 6. A long time ago you abandoned the desire, but now you must forget even the actual knowledge of the desire. 7. Before you used to practice your rite of sexual magic with the ardent incentive of the desire. 8. Now, O Buddha, you must practice your rite of sexual magic without the ardent incentive of the desire. 9. Before you used to dominate the desire by means of the will, and now the desire in you does not have the right to exist. 10. Not only we must abandon the desire, but also we have to do away with the provocation of the desire. 11. The desire provocation must be transformed into the Christic will. 12. The disciples can only practice sexual magic without the ardent incentive of the desire. 13. But you, O Buddha, can only practice your cult of sexual magic with the will.